Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in EDH. Today we're looking at Shadowfax, Lord of Horses. So Shadowfax is a Boros commander. It's a 4/4 horse, and it says horses you control have haste. That includes itself. And whenever it attacks, you may put a creature card with lesser power from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Note the restrictions here. It is lesser power, not less than or equal to, but the creature does enter tapped and attacking and does not die at end of combat or bounce back to your hand. We get to keep it forever. Now, the main problem with Shadowfax, and the reason I initially gave up trying to build this deck, is that if you look for some of the best expensive cards that have powers of 3 or less, there actually really just are not that many of them in the Boros colors. So the main thing that we need to do with Shadowfax is we need to find ways of pumping it before it actually enters the battlefield. So we need to have some sort of like static pump effect so that when Shadowfax attacks, it has at least 5 power, and then we can cheat in the actually good creatures. So to that end, we have a number of anthems such as Flowering of the White Tree, Glass of the Guild Pact, Goblin Oriflamme, Honor of the Pure, Rally the Ranks, and Shared Triumph. All of these give at least +1, or in the case of Flowering of the White Tree, +2. Also, Legion's Initiative should be mentioned as well in that. And then that leads us to some of the big things that we can cheat into play. So an example is Boonweaver Giant, which goes and cheats out an aura from your deck onto itself. In this case, we're going to use Eldrazi Conscription on here. We have both of the Elesh Norns, both good cards to cheat out. Emiria Shepherd, Havoc Eater. When it enters, for each opponent, you goad up to 1 creature they control, and then you put X counters on Havoc Eater, where X is the total power of the creatures goaded. We can also cheat out Kiki Jiki and things that combo with it. We've got Luminate Primordial, Swords to Plowshares on 1 creature per opponent, Myr Battlesphere, Nullstorn Gargoyle, which automatically negates each spell, Fort Razor, the card that combos with Kiki Jiki, Sandstone Oracle to draw cards, and then for just some big beatdowns, we've got Threefold Thunderhulk and Zatalpa. And if you notice out of that list, the only one of those cards that was actually good if we didn't pump Shadowfax is Threefold Thunderhulk and Havoc Eater, and I guess Kiki Jiki as well. Which is why it was very important to make sure that Shadowfax gets pumped so we have actually good creatures to cheat out. So the main win here is going to be either assemble a huge beatdown board with some big creatures to overrun our opponents, or find the Kiki Jiki combo and win that way. Although obviously, if you cheated Kiki Jiki into play with Shadowfax, you can't actually use the ability until the next turn, but you get the idea. From our card draw, we have a number of card draw spells over here, of course. Some fast mana in an effort to get Shadowfax out quicker. A fairly straightforward Boros Commander mana base. Some protection for Shadowfax. Shadowfax needs to not get countered or killed. Also, we should note Bastion Protector both protects Shadowfax and gives it +2, so that's a nice little bonus there. A bunch of ramp spells, some removal, stacks cards. Obviously, we want to slow down our opponents as well. And since we're in Boros, we don't actually have that much instant speed interaction, no counter spells, things like that. And then for additional cards that I considered, I thought about running a card like Felidar Sarvin, for example, but I didn't think I could reliably have the 40 life. Some other cards like Rhea Dawnbringer, which just isn't that good because it requires that we have a creature in our graveyard. Meteor Golem, also just not that great if we're going through all the trouble of trying to get Shadowfax out only to cast Vindicate. And some additional protection, which I also opted not to run, but you very easily could add back into the deck. And so with that said, that is going to do it for Shadowfax, Lord of Horses in EDH.